A Goldman Sachs analyst predicts the metaverse could be an $8 trillion opportunity. Microsoft just spent $69 billion to acquire game developer Activision to give it exposure to the metaverse, and even Apple CEO Tim Cook said he sees a lot of potential in the metaverse. But what is the metaverse?
I'm here to tell you that the metaverse is the next big thing, and it has been since 1992.
Inconceivable!
I know, right?
Let's discuss. Hello, puppets, and welcome to the Metaverse. I'm MetaPuppet. That's Louie sleeping over there in the corner. Here's a toast to you for checking out this video.
Well, let's just get into it.
What is the Metaverse? The term is actually still being defined today, but to put it simply, the Metaverse is the next iteration of the internet. You might have heard of terms like VR, virtual reality, AR, augmented reality, MR, mixed reality,
and XR, which can be extended reality, but it's also sometimes used as a catch-all for all of these digital realities. But it all has to do with the internet, and here's a quick way to put it. With VR, you can go into the internet. With AR, the internet comes out to you.
The history of virtual reality goes back a long way.
It starts way back in 1935 with the first book published about VR. The first head-mounted VR display, 1961. Think about flight simulators, 1966. So you can see how long the progression of this has been.
The term metaverse was coined by author Neal Stephenson in the 1992 novel Snow Crash. And then in the 90s, a slew of awesome movies came out like The Lawnmower Man, Matrix, Virtuosity, and Johnny Mnemonic.
I can carry nearly 80 gigs of data in my head.
80 gigs? That's not that much, but I guess it's enough for Keanu Reeves. Next up, in 1994, Worlds.com was launched, which was the first online virtual world, and the website still exists. You can go on it today. Although since they own the original IP for virtual worlds, they pretty much just sue companies these days. And in 2003, Second Life was launched. It was a virtual world that had its own in-game economy and was really a frontrunner to the virtual worlds that we have today. All right, so now you're saying, wait a minute, this is 30 years ago. What happened? Basically, virtual reality in the 90s was a huge wave and then it crashed. So how do we know this isn't going to just crash again? Take a look at this. This is the 7 verses of the metaverse, created by Avi Bar-Zeev, who was the co-inventor of Microsoft's HoloLens. We are here in the adverse, the first verse of the 7, directed for advertisers. So that's what we're seeing today. We're seeing these major tech firms and advertising companies jumping into the space.
And that's where a lot of the hype is coming from.
If you really want to take a deep dive into the metaverse, check out Avi Bar-Zeev. He's somebody you should be reading.
Okay, so you might be asking, are we just in a big wave of hype? I don't think it's going to crash like it did in the 90s.
And there's 2 reasons why. One is the thing that you're probably watching this video on right now, cell phones. In 2007, when the iPhone came out, it lowered the cost of chips and screens, and now everybody has a smartphone.
Which is actually an AR device that you've been carrying around in your pocket this whole time. If you've ever used a Snapchat filter on your phone, well, you're using AR already.
The second reason is that in the 90s, you had startups putting money into the space, and it went from tens of thousands of dollars to maybe a couple million. Today, you have giant corporations pouring billions of dollars into the space. Meta, formerly Facebook, has just announced it's going to hire 10,000 people in Europe to develop the metaverse. Disney just appointed an executive to oversee its metaverse strategy. And recently, Walmart announced that they are digitizing certain products to sell in the metaverse. These are not little startup companies. These are multi-billion-dollar corporations. So for those 2 reasons alone, I don't think it's going to crash. The hype might fade, but the metaverse is here to stay. But what do I know? I'm just a puppet. Tony Parisi, a software developer who was one of the early pioneers in virtual reality, has come up with 7 rules of the metaverse. Rule number 1, there is only one metaverse. If one refers to such a place as being a metaverse, they are not describing the metaverse. Yeah, it's like there is the internet. It's not an internet. We just have one. Rule number 2, the metaverse is for everyone. So inclusion, diversity, good rule. Rule number 3, nobody controls the metaverse. We want it to be decentralized and open. So like what Facebook is building, right? CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, there's a picture of Mark, had an all-hands-on-deck meeting and told his metamates, that's actually what he calls his metaverse employees, that the metaverse won't be built overnight by a single company. And he has promised to collaborate. He promised. And we can trust him, right?
What are you, stupid?
We'll see. Rule number 4, the metaverse is open. Open interoperable technology. Rule number 5, the metaverse is hardware independent. Whether you have a Mac, whether you have a PC, you should be allowed to experience the same thing. Another good rule. Rule number 6, the metaverse is a network. And here's the big one. Rule number 7, the metaverse is the internet. That's probably the best way to put it. You may have heard of Decentraland or the Sandbox.
It's important to note that
That is not the metaverse. Those are virtual worlds.
so it's just like how Amazon is not the internet, it's just a site that's built on the internet. So if you want to buy something from Amazon, you have to create a profile, you log in, and then you buy whatever you want. And then if you wanted to go to a different site to buy something, you go to the next site, create a profile, and so on and so forth. But when the metaverse is realized, we will never have to log out. We will have the same avatar throughout each world, and all of our data will come with us. There's companies like MetaHero who are creating these hyper-realistic avatars where they actually scan your entire body to create a very detailed avatar of yourself. Now, a very cool use case for this is online clothes shopping. If you have an avatar that is exactly your physical dimensions, then this avatar can go into a store and try clothes on virtually, and you can see exactly how they fit. You buy them, they get shipped to your physical address, and they'll just fit.
The future is now!
Yeah, well, almost.
A true metaverse is still a long ways off, and there are a lot of challenges ahead. But this much I know. Even if the hype does crash, it will not destroy the metaverse, just like how the dot-com bubble did not destroy the internet. The metaverse will be how your children's children experience the internet. I mean, the internet that we have today is going to be like black and white TV to them or basic cable.
So I hope this video has given you a better idea of what the metaverse is.
If you like the content, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and like this video, and I'll see you in the future.